विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. First of all, I seek the blessings of my senior God brothers so that I can properly speak the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Maharaja. So today is Dasahara, the day Lord Ramchandra killed Ravana. Ravana is the personified sinful activities, evil person, demon. And the characteristic of a demon is that he is averse to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demons defy the Supreme Personality of Godhead and want to establish themselves as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as a result of that, great calamity prevails all over. And the demigods, who are the controllers of the universal affairs, their activities become impeded, stifled. And being in such a situation, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally they approach Brahma, then Brahma takes them to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in Treta Yuga, when such a situation prevailed, then Brahma took the demigods to Narayan, Vishnu, and appealed to him that please do something to rectify the situation. And the Lord assured them, okay, I'll be coming. As Krishna said, that he comes whenever there is increase of sinful activities, adharma, and there is a decrease of religious principles. Dharmasya glani and dharmasya glani, when the law and order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not followed, then he comes. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. And he comes to kill the demons and protect the devotees. And that activity of the Lord is actually His Leela. When He comes, He acts in a certain way. Those activities are not bound by the laws of nature. In the material nature, everything is happening, prakrite kriyamanani, gunai karmani sarvasaha. In this material nature, everything is happening by the arrangement of guna and karma. Everyone is subjected to guna and karma. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not controlled by guna and karma. He is completely swarat, he is completely independent. And He acts, and that those activities of the Lord are known as His pastimes. The pastimes are like a drama, drama on a stage. And the drama has two purposes. One aspect of drama is entertainment, and the other aspect of drama is education. A good drama not only entertains, but good drama has an important message to convey. So the Lord acts in that way, creates. It's very exciting the way He acts. And a good drama must have two factors. A good drama must have conflict. Better the conflict, more the conflict, greater the drama. Therefore, the Lord creates that arrangement, the conflict with the demons. In this drama of the Lord, He is the hero, and the demons are the villains. And this conflict takes place with the heroine in the middle. So Lord's eternal consort is the heroine. And through His drama, through this Leela, the Lord teaches a lesson. And what is the lesson? The lesson is Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Surrender unto me. Never ever line up with the demons. Be with me. Line up with me. Because demons, no matter how powerful they are, how prosperous they are, how nice they are, if they are opposed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they must be rejected. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be followed. All these demons are very powerful. I think, can somebody control the thing? It's too much reverb, too much echo. No matter how powerful these demons are, eventually they are killed by the Lord. All these demons are very powerful. Ravan was extremely powerful, and they acquired their power by performing austerities and penances. Ravan performed austerities, severe austerities, and as a result of that austerity, Brahma came to him and asked him, "What do you want?" And he said, generally what they want to become immortal. But Brahma cannot grant immortality. No one in this material nature is immortal. So he says, that benediction I cannot give. So the demons try to outsmart Brahma and get their objective achieved. And so they ask, like the way Hiranyakashipu wanted. Similarly, Ravan also wanted, I won't be killed by anyone. But he forgot the human beings. By Lord Jogamaya's arrangement. Didn't ask about the human beings. And Anyway, so Ravan became extremely powerful, and he started to cause this havoc all over. So the Lord assured the demigods, okay, I will come. And at that time there was a very pious king, Dasarath, in the San dynasty. Imam Vivashyate Yogam, Vivashwan, Vivashan, the sun god, and Vivashan to Manu, his son, Manu to his son Ikshaku. So this is how the Sun dynasty of the warriors, Kshatriyas, came, coming from sun god. The two lines of Kshatriyas, one is from sun god, one is from moon god, Somdev. One is Surya Vamsa, one is Chandra Vamsa. Ramchandra appeared in Surya Vamsa, Krishna appeared in Chandra Vamsa. So in this line of Surya Vamsa, there is a great personality, Dasarath, the son of Aja. Now Dasarath didn't have a son, and a king, it becomes very, very painful, distressful for a king not to have a child, not to have a son, because it's a matter of succession. And the chain can be broken if the king doesn't have a son. That's why you see, like all the kings, like Chitraketu, he was so eager to have children, a son, so much endeavored, and finally got a son. So similarly, Dasarath didn't have a son, and actually in that respect there is one interesting thing happened. When Dasarath was hunting, and he heard the sound. Actually, the sound came from a Brahmana boy, a Rishi Kumar, the son of a sage, was collecting water in a water pot. And that while the water was filling the water pot, it created a sound. And that sound to Dasarath appeared like some elephant was drinking water. So Dasarath had an arrow called Sabdabhedivan that could, you can say, the sound missile. Like following the sound, it would hit the target. And the son was dead. And he took the dead body of this Rishi Kumar to the father. The father was blind. His son was the only shelter. So he actually was very distressed, very much afflicted, very pained. And he cursed Dasarath that just the way I am feeling the pain of losing my son, you also, by losing your son, you will die. Your son, separation from your son is going to cause you the death. So naturally Dasarath was very perturbed, being cursed in this way. So he went and told his guru, Vasishtha Muni, and Vasishtha consoled him that, look, the curse has become a benediction. Because you don't have a son. And he said, due to the separation from your son, you are going to die, so that means you are going to have a son. So, anyway, so although Dasarath in the beginning didn't have a son, but Vasishtha advised him, Vasishtha and Bopodev. They're his family gurus, a family priest, the family guru. And they suggested that he perform two yajnas. One is Aswamedh Yajna and the other is Putrishti Yajna. Putrishti Yajna in order to get a son, and Ashwamedh Yajna, which is the king of all sacrifices. So as a result of performing that Yajna, Ashwamedh Yajna, a celestial personality whose complexion was like monsoon cloud appeared with a pot of sweet rice and gave it to Dasarath and said, give it to your queens. Dasarath had 3 queens, Kaushalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. And all 3 could not give him any child. So, he took that pot of sweet rice. He gave half of it to the principal queen, Kaushalya. Then he divided that into half. He gave 1/4 to Sumitra. I'm sorry. And then he gave 1/8 to Kaikeyi. No, I'm sorry. He gave 1/4 to Kaikeyi and 1/8 to Sumitra, because Kaikeyi was his favorite queen. She was known for her beauty and she was the youngest of the 3. So Dasarath was extremely attached to this youngest queen. So he gave 1/4 to her and then 1/8 to Sumitra, and then he gave, after some deliberation, he gave the remaining part also to Sumitra. And as a result of that, from Kaushalya came Lord Ram, from Kaikeyi came Bharat, and from Sumitra, Lakshman and Shatrugna. Lakshman became extremely attached to Ram, and Shatrugna was extremely attached to Bharat. So this is how he got 4 sons. And these 4 sons were actually the Chaturbhuja: Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. And so naturally they are the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, extremely beautiful. They all 4 looked alike, and they were endowed with wonderful qualities. And when they grew up at certain age, Bharat went to his uncle's house. And at that time, before that, let us consider, when Ramchandra was 16 years old, a great sage, Vishwamitra, came to Dasarath's palace. So naturally, when a saintly personality comes, the king receives him with great honor and respect. And he fell at his feet, expressed his good fortune for his arrival, and begged him to bless him. And he also promised to him, please tell me, what can I do for you? This servant of yours is completely dedicated to your service. Please allow him to render some service to you. So then, after some initial exchange, Vishwamitra told Dasarath why he came. And he said that he is performing some sacrifice, and some demons, mainly 2 demons with all their associates, Maricha and Subahu, are spoiling the sacrifice. So he came to ask for Ram to come with him and kill that demon. So Ram was just 16 years old, and Dasarath, just by hearing, he was so attached to Ram that when he heard that he is asking Ram to go and confront those demons who are actually famous for their atrocities. And they were the principal followers of Ravana. And Ravana caused such terror to everybody at that time. And one of Dasarath's ancestors were killed by Ravana. Therefore he was extremely worried. Just by hearing that he fainted. That he wanted to take Ram. Then when he came back to his senses, just by seeing Vishwamitra, he fainted again. He recalled why he came. Then finally he told Vishwamitra that no, I can't allow my son to go. He reasoned with him that look, Ram didn't even complete his educations of warfare. He doesn't have any experience of fighting a battle. So, how is he going to confront these terrible demons? Rather, I go with my soldiers and let Ram also come with me. But Vishwamitra got very angry. He said that, look, if I wanted you to come, then I would have asked you to come. I am asking him to come. And you promised that whatever I want, you are going to fulfill that desire. Now you are breaking your own vow. So he'll go to hell. I am leaving. So at that time, Vasishtha, seeing the anger of Vishwamitra, he consoled Dasarath that look, if Vishwamitra wanted, he could kill these demons. He has the power. And since he has come and asking for Ram, there must be some special reason for that. And besides that, Vishwamitra has all kinds of celestial weapons. So most likely he'll give them all to Ram. So this way, Vasishtha advised the King Dasarath. So King Dasarath agreed, and Vishwamitra took Ram. And while going to the ashram, on the way when they stopped at night at the bank of the river Saraju, they confronted one demoness called Taraka Rakshashi. So Vishwamitra told Ram to kill Taraka. So Ram killed Taraka. So Ram was actually lamenting to Lakshman that look, the first one I had to kill was a woman. Similarly, Krishna also felt the same way. He had to kill Putana. So, and then they went, and Maricha and Subahu, for 6 days, Vishwamitra performed his sacrifice. And on the 6th day, as the sacrifice was going to be completed, all of a sudden the sky became, the whole atmosphere became dark. And there was all kinds of ominous signs. And then they heard the sound, a terrible sound, thundering sound of their roars and laughters of the demons. And then they, all of a sudden, they started to throw all kinds of inauspicious objects. So then Vishwamitra told Ram, take care of this demon. So Ram told Lakshman, this one I won't kill, Maricha. So I won't kill him because his time hasn't come to die. So Ram shoot the arrow, and that hitting the arrow, hitting the demon, carried him to 3,000 miles away and landed him in the ocean. Then the other demon, Subahu, came. So Ram with the second arrow killed him. And with the third arrow, Ram took care of all the demons, the other demons. Now this Maricha actually had some other role to play, that's why Ram didn't kill him. What was the other role? Maricha actually became the golden deer to entice Ram. And Sita Devi first, actually. Anyway, so then Vishwamitra took Ram to Mithila, the king Janak's capital. King Janak had a daughter, Sita. Janak saw that this daughter was unusually qualified. Therefore, he decided to marry her to somebody who is of suitable match. And he had the bow of Lord Shiva, Haradhanu, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva took that bow to plunder the sacrifice of Daksha. And then he gave it to the custody of the demigods, and demigods gave it to Dasarath's ancestor Devavrata. And this is how Dasarath actually inherited this bow. And Dasarath made a condition that anybody who can string that bow can marry Sita. And many princes came, kings came, all tried, but no one succeeded. And now Ram was told about that bow. Ram became curious. Oh, like a Kshatriya is curious to see the bow of Lord Shiva. And he was taken to the bow. And the bow was carried by 500 people in a cart with 8 wheels. Ram was very pleased to see the bow, and with his left hand he easily lifted the bow, strung the bow, and as he pulled, the bow broke. So everybody Janak could see that Ram is a suitable match for Sita and arranged for his marriage. This message was sent to King Dasarath. King Dasarath came with his other relatives and associates, with Vasishtha, and the marriage took place. Sita got married to Ram. King Janak had another daughter, Urmila. She was given to Lakshman. And his 2 nieces, Mandavi and Shrutakirti, were given to Bharat and Shatrughna. So this way 4 brothers got married. And then they went back. On the way back, something happened. All of a sudden, the whole atmosphere became very ominous. And so everybody became very worried, very afraid. What's happening? Because all of a sudden, everything became dark. And then emerged a personality with matted hair, carrying an axe on his shoulder and a bow in his hand. So Vasishtha could recognize that this is Parashuram. And Parashuram considered that the Kshatriyas were his enemy, because one Kshatriya, Kartavirja Arjun, killed his father. Therefore, Parashuram 21 times he annihilated all the Kshatriyas. So Dasarath, when he saw him, became very worried. And he told Vasishtha, but he decided not to fight with anybody. Why he is so angry again and coming here? So Vasishtha asked him, Parshuram, you are supposed to have given up your tendency to fight again against the Kshatriya. Why are you? He said, yes, this person is an offender. Breaking the bow of Lord Shiva was an offense. So I have come to challenge him. But I will challenge him only if he can string this bow. This is the bow of Lord Vishnu. So Ram took the bow. And when Ram took the bow, Parashuram lost all the luster that he used to have in his body. Why? Because the energy, the potency that he invested, Lord Ram or Vishnu invested in him, he was a Shaktavesh avatar. He was empowered. So that power, the potency was withdrawn from him by taking the bow. And then Ram placed an arrow after stringing. So Parshuram begged forgiveness. So Ram said, okay, but I have strung this arrow on the bow, so it cannot go unvain. So I have to shoot at something. So this arrow will destroy all your pious activities, and you will lose your right to go to the heavenly planet. Saying that, Ram released the bow, and Parshuram lost his ability to go to the heavenly planet, higher planetary system. And he is still there in Mahendra Mountain. So this is how he had the encounter. Now I'll just go quickly, try to get to the main point. You all know that how Kaikeyi was vitiated. Kaikeyi's mind was vitiated by her maidservant, her hunched back maidservant Manthara. And as a result of that, Ram had to go to the forest. And the condition was Bharat would become the king. Bharat at that time was in his maternal uncle's house. And when Ram left, due to the separation of Ram, Dasarath left his body. The message was sent to Kekaya province, and Bharat came back, and he heard everything, and he was so upset with his mother. He chastised his mother, Kaikeyi, very, very strongly. And then he himself went to bring Ram back. He went to the forest, gave the news of his father's death to Lord Ramchandra, and begged him to come back. But Ram said, no, I am bound by this commitment to stay in the forest for 14 years. So I have to remain truthful to that vow. So then Bharat took the peg shoes, the wooden shoes of Ramchandra, as the representative of Ram, took it back to the kingdom, but he didn't go to Ajodhya. He went to Nandigram. He set up his kingdom in Nandigram, because to stay in Ajodhya was too painful for him, because all the memories of Ramchandra were there. So that shows what a wonderful personality Bharat was. In some cases it has been pointed out that Bharat's credit was even greater than Lord Ram's. Because Ram went to the forest for 14 years, lived there in the forest as an ascetic. But Bharat, remaining in this royal atmosphere, in the middle of all this opulence and comfort and luxury and pleasure, he maintained the life of an ascetic. He had matted hair. He did not eat anything but fruits for these 14 years. And he ruled the kingdom, placing the shoes of Lord Ramchandra on the throne and standing there as his representative. He ruled the kingdom. So this is these are the personalities, such amazing personalities, establishing such wonderful standard of morality, loyalty, and all the good qualities. So Ram was supposed to be in the forest for 14 years. 13 years went by, and then one day when Ram and Lakshman, after taking the bath in the river, were coming, one demoness, Surpanakha, Rakshashi, saw Ram and became afflicted with lusty desires. And assuming the form of an extremely beautiful woman, these demonesses the demons and Rakshasas and Rakshashis they have such power that they can assume any form they want. Like Putana also appeared as a very, very beautiful woman. So Surpanakha also assumed the form of a beautiful woman and approached Ram. will you please marry me? You are so handsome. Like I have become afflicted by the arrows of Cupid, Kamdev. So please marry me. So Ram told him that, look, I am married, my wife is with me, and such a beautiful woman like you would never like to have a co-wife. So that my brother Lakshman is alone, and so why don't you marry him? Why don't you approach him? So she approached Lakshman. Lakshman gave some reasons why she should go to Ram. Said, I am his servant. Do you want to become the wife of a servant? And Surpanakha could not recognize that they were actually having a great laugh at her expense. So finally when she realized that, she just wanted to devour Sita. So at that time, Lakshman took out his sword and chopped off Surpanakha's nose and ear. Crying, she went to her two brothers who were her protectors there in that forest, Khar and Dushan. So they came with the 14 Akshauhini soldiers. And Ram single-handedly wiped them all out. The news now reached to Ravan that Khar and Dushan are dead along with their army. So Ravan became extremely angry to hear that this human being dared to challenge me and my arrangement. So go and kill him. So in the meantime, Surpanakha also came and he gave Ravan the news how beautiful Sita is. So Ravan was a very lusty person. So he became enchanted hearing about the beauty of Sita. So now the Ravan came and stole Sita. Yeah, actually, anyway, let's not go back to that. There are so many details, like I'm just trying to skip them and go on. And then Ram came and found that Sita is missing. So Ram and Lakshman started to look for Sita, and they came across some monkeys in a mountain region. And these monkeys actually gave him the news that they saw Ravana in his flying chariot was carrying a woman, and that woman drops her ornaments. So they showed those ornaments, and Ram could recognize that they are Sita's ornaments. So these monkeys, they came to support Lord Ramchandra with their monkey army. And with the monkey army, Ram went down. One of the monkeys, Hanuman, brought the news of Sita. Jai Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Hanuman brought the news of Sita, and now Ram, along with the monkey soldiers, went to attack Ravan in his capital, Lanka, which was an island. Now how to go to that island? So a bridge was built. The bridge was 100 jojanas, that is 800 miles long and 80 miles wide. The bridge was completed in 6 days. In that respect also, there was an anecdote. So the monkeys were, big monkeys were carrying big boulders, mountain tops and all kinds of things to throw in the ocean to build the bridge. And so Hanuman just came to Vrindavan and he was about to pick Govardhan. And at that time there was a celestial voice saying, no need of any more support and help. The bridge is completed. So when that happened, he became very upset, Giriraj Govardhan. He was about to pick up Govardhan and take. And he felt so bad that he was about to be used in the service of the Lord, and now he has been deprived, so he started to cry. So then the Lord assured him, don't worry, I will come back again in Dwapar Yuga, and at that time you will become my main shelter in Vrindavan. I will play around you, I'll even, what to speak of, you supporting him, I will lift you. I will serve you and use you in my service. So anyway, that was another side incident. In that battle, Ravan lost. In that respect also, many people gave Ravan good advice. Don't fight with him. In that respect also, there is a very beautiful anecdote. Like, Ravan went to Bali Maharaj for support. So Bali said, look, Ravan, give back that woman to her husband. You know, you have committed a great offense, great sin by stealing somebody else's wife. And besides that, this personality is so strong, there is no way you can win. Ravan said, look, I got into this battle, I got into the fight with him, so I cannot retreat now. If I do, then I'll be branded as a coward. So I have to continue the fight. So, and then Bali Maharaj said, okay, since we decided, then there is nothing that I can tell you. But since you have come to me, I must give you a gift. So he took him to a mountain, a golden mountain, studded with diamonds, the size of 6-7 feet in diameter. Huge diamond-studded mountain. So he said, Ravan, take it. Ravan tried to lift it, but he couldn't lift it. Who could lift even Mount Kailash, but he couldn't. Then Bali Maharaj told him, Ravan, this is the earring of my great-grand uncle, Hiranyaksha. And this Ram killed him. So what chance do you have to win this battle against him? Anyway, so this is one anecdote that shows what the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what kind of power he has, what kind of strength he has, and how can anybody defeat him. So another thing, okay, Ravan was killed, Sita was rescued, Sita was brought back. As you know, there was that fire sacrifice, that Sita had to go through the fire test to prove her purity. And at that time, Agnidev himself came. When Sita entered into the fire, Agnidev himself came and gave Sita back to Ram. Said that she is all pure. Actually what happened, when Ravana came, Sita Devi took shelter of fire god Agnidev. And Agnidev took Sita and in place of Sita kept a Maya Sita. And Ravan actually stole that Maya Sita. Ravan couldn't even touch Sita Devi. So then Sita was rescued. They all came to Ayodhya, and everyone was praising Lord Ramchandra, that only he could kill Ravan. But Agastya Muni said, no, the credit of killing Ravan actually goes to Lakshman. Why? Because if Indrajit was not killed, nobody could kill Ravan. If Indrajit was alive, Ravan couldn't have been killed. Now, Indrajit had the benediction that only a person who had remained a brahmachari for 14 years and who never ate anything for 14 years could kill him. And since Lakshman did not eat anything for 14 years and he was a brahmachari for 14 years, he could kill Indrajit. Otherwise, no one could kill Indrajit. So one asked, a brahmachari doesn't even look at a woman, and Sita was with me all the time. So how can Lakshman be considered a brahmachari? So then Agastya Muni asked, Lakshman, what's your response to that? Lakshman said, yes, I only looked at Sita's feet. I never looked at her body or face. And he reminded Ramchandra that when you showed the ornaments of Sita, the only thing I could recognize was her ankle bells. Because that's the only ornament I saw. I didn't see any other ornaments. Ram remembered, yes, that's true. So that's how it was proven that Lakshman was a brahmachari for 14 years. But he said, but every day I used to give him fruit and he used to eat the fruit. So how can you say that he was an anahari? He didn't eat anything for 14 years. Agastya asked, Lakshman, what's your response? Lakshman said, yes. When you gave me the fruit, you said, take it. You never asked me to eat it. Therefore, I didn't eat it. I gave it back to the forest. So Ram said, okay, Hanuman, go to the forest and see if the fruits are still there. Because being touched by Lakshman, those fruits have become immortal. So they must be there in the forest. So Hanuman went, brought all the fruits. So they counted. 6 fruits were missing, were short of 6 fruits. Oh, for 6 days, Lakshman, you ate fruit. Then Lakshman said, no, my brother, for those 6 days, you did not give me the fruit. One day, when you got the news of father's death, one day when Sita was stolen, one day when I was hit by Shakti. So in this way, he mentioned 6 days. So then Ram said, look, as my younger brother, you had to undergo so much tribulation, so much difficulty. So in my next pastimes, you will become my elder brother. And that's how Lakshman, in the next pastime, as Krishna's pastimes, he became his elder brother, Balaram. Jai Shri Ramachandra ki, Jai Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Jai Sri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai, Jai Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shamabeta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Hare.